Hey there! Today I want to talk about why you should be investing in Bitcoin and why it's not too late to start. There are a lot of reasons why someone should invest in Bitcoin. However, I'm going to talk about the two main reasons why someone should be investing in Bitcoin. The first reason why you should be investing in Bitcoin is because of inflation. That's right, inflation. Ladies and gentlemen, inflation is pretty much summed up as the rise in price over time due to different factors. The three main factors that contribute to rising inflation that I want to talk about briefly are increase of monetary supply, second being devaluation of money, and third being low interest rates. Increasing of monetary supply basically just means we're printing more and more money. It can be summed up as money printer go burr. And what do you think happens after we increase the monetary supply over hundreds of years? Take a guess. I bet you'll never figure it out. Oh yeah, that's right. Your money, your precious dollars, devalued. They're gonna be worth less than what they were a couple years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You guys are probably saying, well, $1 is always gonna be $1. You know what? You're right. But my point is being $1 10 years ago is worth more than $1 today. To illustrate this point, let's take a look at home prices. The median home price in 1971, which is only 50 years ago, was $24,000. That's right. You could have bought a home for $24,000 back in 1971. Fast forward to 2021, 50 years later. Can you guess what the home price is? You'll never guess it. It's over $350,000, the median price for a home in America. Now, I have to say a little disclaimer. The price is going to change if you're in California, New York versus Arkansas or somewhere like Mississippi, Ohio. There's differences in, cost of living, but that's just the median price of the US housing market. So within that 50-year period, your percentage increase is 1,458%. A lot of people my age are coming to a realization that it might not be feasible to buy a home within the early 20s, like what a lot of people did back then. They're gonna have to find different alternatives, and that's just one of the downsides of inflation. One of the good sides of inflation is if you have these assets like home, stocks, bonds, you're gonna do great. You're gonna love it. That's how essentially the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Another fun thought experiment to do is look at the price of a Big Mac in 1967 compared to the price of a Big Mac in 2021. And the grand price of one Big Mac in 1967 was 45 cents, and if you had to guess today, it's roughly about $4 for one Big Mac. That percentage difference is roughly about 900%, okay? So, I gave you two examples of inflation. It is a real thing. However, like I said, it's about 50 years difference, right? For both these examples. It takes a while for inflation to occur, and a lot of us, when something happens slowly, we don't really notice it. But if you just ask your parents, or just think about a price of something you enjoyed 10, 20 years ago, depending on how old you are, you can see it for yourself, okay? Increasing the monetary supply leads to the second reason, or the second cause of why inflation keeps rising. It's devaluation. If you take a look at this nice graph I have, it shows you the history, or the devaluation history of the dollar as time goes on. You can see in 1910, this is where it all started, right? And if you're thinking about $100 in 1910, that was huge. That was a lot of money. That's probably equivalent to someone having, $1,000 or $10,000 a day. But $100 back then, you're probably thinking, yeah, that's not that much, right? But no, back then that was a lot of money. There's a lot of information on this graphs, and I could probably talk almost an hour about this. However, that's not the point of this video. I just want to illustrate the devaluation of the dollar in a relative time span. And also, a fun fact, the Federal Reserve is not a part of the U.S. government. It's more or less a group or a collection of private companies or private banks. There's more than one Federal Reserve. They have Federal Reserve in Cleveland, St. Louis, New York, and such. So essentially, just remember, as they print more money, which they do, and they will, right? They'll keep doing it. Your dollars, your precious dollars, will become valued less and less and less and less. Just think about that, okay? You have zero control over this. Wait, do you have? No, you can actually buy assets. And one of the best assets you can invest in is, that's right, Bitcoin. I know I just got some of you guys real excited there, and I know I got some of you guys putting a bunch of question marks over your head. What is a Bitcoin? Okay, what is a Bitcoin? All right. I need you to relax. I still have one more factor to talk about why inflation keeps increasing. And the last one is interest rates. A lot of you guys might be familiar with interest rates, some of you guys might not be, but let's take a look at this interesting graph down below. If we take a nice stroll back to the 1980s, the interest rate back then was roughly 20% per year. The thing you guys need to notice about this interesting graph is that we keep decreasing over time. What does this mean? What does all this mean? Essentially, it means that as the years go on, it gets cheaper and cheaper to borrow money. Okay? Back in 1980, it would cost you $20 to borrow $100 per year. If you did the same today, you would pay about $3 to borrow $100 per year. That is a huge difference. Let me scale up a little bit. If I wanted to borrow $100,000 today and I had good credit and I could get a 3% interest rate or sub 3, I would pay roughly $3,000 to borrow $100,000 per year just in interest. I need you to think about that real real long and hard because that is another reason why inflation keeps increasing. Now it also works on the flip side. When you put your money into a bank, they have an interest rate that they pay you, okay? In the 1980s, you could probably get 10% interest rate per year. So meaning if you had $100 inside of a bank account, a savings account, you would get $10. They would pay you $10 per year to keep your $100 within that account, okay? So it works opposite too. Now, please don't laugh, but look at your interest rates on your bank account now. It's not even a fraction of 1%. You might get 1/100th of a percent per year. That's laughable. You're losing your money to inflation. Inflation is roughly 2%. The bank gives you maybe, half a penny per year per $100 that you have with them. If you're lucky. Some banks don't even bother giving you, it's negligible. Like, it's not even worth mentioning, okay? It's very laughable right now. I said it's laughable, but all this situation right now, it's very sad when we think about it. It's very sad in the fact that a lot of people don't realize what's going on with their hard-earned money. It's also very sad that they don't bother teaching us many of these basic financial concepts within the classroom either. But let's not be too sad because there is an answer to a lot of your problems, and it is education, and that's what I'm here for. So let's get on to the second reason why you should invest in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the next evolution of money. And I know what you're thinking. Wow, Arnon, you're a crazy person. Yeah, I am crazy. But let me think about it this way. What do you think people thought of the internet in the 1990s? They thought those people were insane. They thought those people were probably mental. And now look how big the internet has got in 2021. It's insane, okay? And a lot of us cannot realize the potential of an upcoming technology when it's still currently in development. Another example is the light bulb. What do you think the people that were so used to using candles thought? Who would use this devil magic that could magically, generate light that wasn't candle? They probably thought they were crazy too. I'm not trying to make fun of certain people. It's happened throughout many times in history. You got transistors, you have the internet, you have cars. When a new and upcoming disruptive technology challenges the current system, there's going to be a lot of pushback, okay? A lot of pushback. So let's talk about a few points why I believe Bitcoin is the newest upcoming technology that will revolutionize money. Bitcoin has a limited supply of 21 million, and this is built into code. This isn't someone on a rock saying, okay, there can only be 21 million Bitcoin. No, this is built in within code, okay? You have to understand, code is a law in computing language. So what that 21 million means is that once we reach a 21 million supply, there can never be any more Bitcoin created, okay? Ever again. Please name me one monetary system that has a principle just like that. All monetary systems that ever existed on this planet are inflationary. Think about the Romans, think about the Egyptians, think about the Mesopotamians. All those currencies, all those systems had inflation. What happened to the civilizations? Guess. Just please guess for me. Why don't we use any of the currencies anymore? We don't. They're relics. What do you think is going to happen to the dollar. And guess what? No government has control of Bitcoin. The US government does not control Bitcoin. The Chinese government does not control Bitcoin. Many governments try to control Bitcoin, but it all fails. And why? It's because Bitcoin is decentralized. So now you're probably asking me, who controls Bitcoin? Thanks for asking. The people control Bitcoin. The miners control Bitcoin. Everyday people all across the globe, they're the ones that control Bitcoin. But the key point is here is no government has any definitive control of Bitcoin. And that is amazing. So I just mentioned two big principles of why Bitcoin is a evolutionary technology for money. There are many reasons why, but I don't have enough time in this video to explain. I will make many more videos explaining why I believe Bitcoin is the next evolution in monetary technology. But for now, what I'll be talking about is why it's not too late to buy Bitcoin. And you guys need to listen up very carefully right now. There's only less than 2% of the world that has any amount of Bitcoin. That counts as even one millionth of a Bitcoin, okay? You don't need one whole Bitcoin, right? There's about 8 billion people on this planet right now, roughly, and there's only 21 million Bitcoin that can exist. Right now, there's not more than 21 million. There's, I think, 19 million are in current circulation right now. Bitcoin is still being mined. If we were to hypothetically spread out all the Bitcoin amongst the 8 billion people on this planet, each one would get roughly 0.0026 Bitcoin, which is roughly about $150, okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is just for $150 roughly, you could become one of the 2% that gets their fair share of Bitcoin, quote unquote fair share. It's not that much to invest, okay? Just $150. There are many other reasons why that you start early into Bitcoin. However, this video primarily serves as a primer or an introduction to a lot of various topics, and hopefully I've caught your attention because I will be releasing more videos that explain into further detail about each of these topics. So if you enjoyed this video and this presentation, please like, leave me a comment, ask me a question, subscribe, share with your friends, and thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace and take care.